I market every month out of the year, no matter what. So even if there's elections, even if it's November and we're slowing down and things aren't looking very good for a month or so, we're going to continue to market because.
All right. So since you've been on the show, a lot has changed, right? The real estate market has kind of been, not going down, but it's kind of interesting. There's some more challenges. So I was curious, you got to work with a lot of clients. What are you seeing right now in the landscape in the real estate investor community?
Well, luckily the election's over. I think that was a big roadblock mentally for people. And everything that I researched and understood from the election is that really it's just a mentality, right? The election over the past however many elections have shown that the stock market and the real estate market gets better after elections. At least that's what I've heard from financial advisors and people, really smart people.
I know a lot of you want to be wealthy and successful. So what does it take? It's not about working harder. It's about finding a proven path to success and modeling it so you don't have to work so hard. I would not be where I am without videos and channels like this. I used to struggle massively in my businesses until someone showed me the way. I now own multiple businesses that run on their own and have become a multimillionaire and have been listed on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies multiple times. If you want to become successful, you not only need to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification buttons, but I can personally notify you when I interview top successful people and even possibly join in on the masterminds that I do. I might even have something cool to give you for free. Go to tonyjavier.com/connect and find out what we have coming up and what you can plug into. Now back to the show.
So I think that was the biggest thing last year that people were hung up on is, do I really want to start a new marketing channel? Do I really want to add to marketing channels? Do I really want to add anything at all when there's a lot of unknown? When really it's just a mentality. And I think, this from sales training is like a lot of business, a lot of things are just mental. So for me, my business, and I told my clients this all the time, I market every month out of the year, no matter what. So even if there's elections, even if it's November and we're slowing down and things aren't looking very good for, a month or so, we're going to continue to market because in December, they may not be wanting to sell in December, real estate or sellers, but if they see your commercials in December playing and then all of a sudden in January, they want to do something, if you weren't in front of them in December and maybe your competitor was, you may not get that deal.
Right.
So you may have spent that marketing money in December, but it's going to pay off in January, February when some of those sellers are looking to do something. So I think that's the biggest thing. And, markets, it's all market specific, right? Like in Wichita, Kansas, where I invest, we still put properties on the market and they sell within a week. Like almost every single property sells within a week. We just sold one last week, had three offers, and it sold for cash, $10,000 over asking. And it was only $107,000.
Gotcha.
And we priced it at the very top of the market. So I think a lot of markets are still pretty strong, like the Midwest. But I think a lot of it's just a mentality. And even if the market is softening and potentially going down, which I don't think there's any markets that are significantly going down, adjust to it. Continue to market, just buy cheaper. Right. Yeah. If you think in 6 months, when you flip a house, it may be 5% cheaper, just negotiate 5 or 10% cheaper to make sure you're covering. So just kind of weird how investors just got so scared last year.
Yeah.
And here we are, first full week of January, I believe. If I'm not mistaken.
First full week.
And the first Monday, we had 3 people jump on board and say, hey, we want to go ahead and start TV that we had talked to at least a month before.
Yeah.
And the only thing that changed was the beginning of the year in election.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Talking about like stock market goes up, real estate market goes up. If I were to attribute to anything, right, it's complete speculation. It's just there's just more certainty, right? Like, it doesn't matter who wins. There's just uncertainty in there. We don't know what's going on. But now that we know who's president, now we can speculate more positively or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe that could be it. And then once the honeymoon is over, we'll see what happens. But
now there might be some other industries that could be majorly affected by who got in office. But for real estate investing, as long as you're buying smart, you should be fine.
Yeah. And I think it's a good point you mentioned though, like with the election coming and going, that you keep spending because you want to stay in front of them, which is important in marketing, right? Like Google PPC, no one's going to notice if you weren't spending for the month of November. But for TV, they're going to see if you were on October, November, December, or really like several months before then, because the way marketing works, you got to stay in front of them over and over and over again. So that makes total sense. Any other trends you see? Because like the reason why I'm asking, you have like over 100 clients, right?
Mhm.
So you can kind of see kind of like the feel, ebbs and flow. Do you see any other trends?
I think the biggest thing is that the investors that do the best with TV, and I think it has to do with any marketing campaign, is that they're just dialed in.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is that they have a good CRM, they have a good lead manager, they have a good acquisitions person, and good is subjective, right?
Sure.
But to me, it comes down to how are you handling those leads. So even if you're not a great salesperson, if you can answer the call or get back to that person with a short amount of time, within a short amount of time, get to the house very quickly within 24 to 48 hours, um, make the offer and try and get that sale right away. You want to strike while the iron's hot.
Mhm.
So I think if anything, that's the number one thing that I could say to anybody is if they're starting a marketing campaign is to make sure that they're handling the leads properly. And then don't always believe when someone says something doesn't work.
Mhm.
You don't know why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Did they do it right? Maybe they hired the wrong person to help them implement it. Did they handle the leads properly? Did they spend enough money? And did they give it enough time?